I am here. I am here. I was looking for a piece of Palo Santo stick so that I could burn and kind of clear the energy a little bit. And I couldn't remember what I did with them because, let me go ahead and shut everything down here, because for the last few months, I haven't been able to really use any or burn any sage or burn any kind of incense, because the lady that I was taking care of was on oxygen, so I wasn't able to. So I could not remember where I had put anything. And so I was running around trying to, where did I put my, so I found a piece. So I'm going to go ahead, and this is Palo Santo. For those of you who aren't aware, I decided I'd go ahead and burn a piece of Palo Santo stick instead of sage to clear the energy a little bit. So forgive me for being a few minutes late, but I promise tonight is going to be, it's going to be good. It's going to be good. We were supposed to have done this, gosh, how many, I think about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, but they said, things happen when they're supposed to, right? Let me go ahead and get myself situated. If you haven't noticed, I reshaved my head. I missed it so much. I've been talking about it for probably a couple of weeks now, and I decided today, said just do it. I missed it so much. I'm either the lots of hair kind of girl or no hair kind of girl. There's no in between. So for those of you who are just joining me and you have no idea who I am, then it's not new to you. I'm just bald headed to you. For others, some of you might have seen me with lots of hair, and then you saw me when I shaved my head 3 years ago to raise funds for childhood cancer research. And then for the last few months, for the last 4 or 5 months, I've actually grown my hair out a little bit. So if you go back and look at the previous meditation videos, you'll notice that in those I have a little bit of hair. It's curly, of course, a lot longer than it actually looks. But I've just missed having a bald head so much. I've realized that this is me, that having the bald head is part of who I am. And that sounds strange. And oddly enough, quite a few people, when they realized I was growing my hair back out, they said, I like you with the bald head. I think that was so you. Not too many people can carry that off. So I said, you know what? I feel the same way. So I went ahead and I did it. So it's the bald Gina in front of you again tonight. All right, so today is all about the heart. We're going to do a heart meditation, right? So let me go ahead and, as promised, let me just go ahead and just burn a little bit of Palo Santo. And Palo Santo, holy wood. I'll send some your way. And this pretty much extinguishes by itself. Go ahead and set that aside. Just kind of clear the energy a little bit before we go into our meditation for tonight. But before we do the meditation, I want to kind of explain a little bit. I am wearing green, got green earrings. These are Moldavite. And I'm wearing a green necklace, which is, this is actually labradorite, has a lot of green in it. I'm wearing a green shirt, I'm wearing green eyeshadow, and there's a reason for all the green. I even have a green drink in a green glass. Okay, so there's a reason. Green is said to be the color in Ayurveda, anyway, to be the color of the heart center, or the heart energetic center. So if you'd like to change into a green shirt right now or something green, feel free. We're not actually going to jump into the meditation right this second. I'm going to talk a little bit about the heart first, and then we'll go into the meditation later on. So if you want to get something green on, whether it's a green ring or if you want to throw on some green eyeshadow, it is entirely up to you. You have some time in which to do that. So for those of you who are just joining me, this is part of the Love Your Body meditation series. We started with the feet, went up to the legs. We've done the what's called the sacral chakra, the reproductive center area. We did that one a few weeks ago. Then we did the solar plexus, which is the digestive center, that energy center. And today we're going to be doing the heart energy center. And for the next meditation, we'll be talking all about that throat energy center. And that's probably going to be a hard one for a lot of people. But today's all about the heart energy center. And so that's what the meditation is going to be on tonight. And I wanted to start off with this little poem. Before we do that, I always start off by just playing a little bit of the Tibetan sound bowl. Right, so I found this poem while I was doing a little bit of research on the heart itself. I found this poem, and it's by a guy named Simon Heathcote. I'm hoping I pronounced the name right. And it's called The Curse of Love. And I'm reading it not because I think it's like the best poem ever. I think it's kind of sad, and you might find it that way. But I wanted to read part of this because as I was reading it, there was the last line in the first stanza that I'm going to read. It just was so sad, and I wonder how many of us actually feel this way, right? So the poem is called The Curse of Love. And it goes, I remember the root and the ruin. It slips into quiet moments when I think I've forgotten. Curdles like a summer's day, takes me back to my beginnings. The curse of love is unrelenting. Loss runs through it, an unwanted vein. It's kind of sad, isn't it? Right? We all suffer loss, but is love really a curse? That's what I want us to think about. Because we all think about, love being associated with the heart, right? When Valentine's Day comes around, we all think about this, everybody's getting these red hearts and chocolates in the shape of hearts, and there's this red hearts everywhere. Hearts, 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 right? And it's associated with love. But when you think about love being a curse, that just sounds kind of, right? But so is it really a curse? But one of those lines when it says loss runs through it, you can't really, that part I understand. You can't really suffer loss unless it was something that you really loved or someone that you really loved and cared about, right? So in that sense, I understand the pain. You can almost feel the pain as I was reading those words by Simon Heathcote. I really hope I'm pronouncing his name right. So I get it. I understand that portion, but it's still kind of sad, right? So why did I decide I'm going to do this heart meditation? Besides the fact that it's part of the whole series that I'm doing. Well, your heart, when do you really pay attention to your heart, right? We don't often think about the heart really unless we are like in love and our heart just kind of does that pitter patter, right? Or if we're afraid, like we're suddenly something suddenly scares us, and then all of a sudden our heart starts to really to beat really, really fast. So then we really notice it. And unless maybe you're in a PE class. I know when I was in middle and high school or even college and I was on the cross country team, one of the things we always had to do was take your two fingers, put up by your neck, take your pulse, focus on our heartbeat, right? Because we wanted to make sure that our hearts were not beating too fast, or we wanted to get it up to a certain level, but not to where it's dangerous, right? So we notice our heartbeats then, but apart from that, we really don't pay a whole lot of attention to it. Now, our hearts are part of what's called the autonomic nervous system, as well as the parasympathetic nervous system. Now, the autonomic nervous system says exactly that. The autonomic nervous system it's automatic. You don't have to tell your heart to beat. It just does, right? It doesn't wait for the instructions from you in order for it to do its job. It just does the heartbeat every however often per minute, right? For each person, it's different. It just does because it's part of the autonomic nervous system. Now, it's also part of the parasympathetic nervous system, which is what kind of controls the fight or flight, right? So in that fight or flight, the parasympathetic, basically, it's either we're going to freeze, right, or we're going to run. And that's usually when something scares us. So the parasympathetic controls that sort of behavior, right? So autonomic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous system is what the two systems that the heart's part of. Also part of the circulatory, because it is responsible for pumping the blood. So we don't really think about it; it just does. But when we meditate, even if you're not doing a heart meditation, when you meditate, period, there are certain benefits that the heart does get just by meditating. Those benefits include your heart rate being lowered. It includes your blood pressure being lowered. It includes stress. Suddenly, stress just kind of flitters away, right? Your anxiety level goes down. Your your cholesterol can even get lowered, and that's because there's a whole biological explanation of that, but your cholesterol actually gets lowered because of the benefits from meditating, and the effects that it has on your heart, right? You also get improved sleep. So if you have trouble sleeping, meditating actually helps your sleep, but also improves your heart at the same time. So just a few benefits to meditating. But today the meditation is going to be specifically related to the heart. In addition to all of that, you also reduce the harmful hormones like cortisol, adrenaline, noradrenaline, which can lead to faster heartbeat, increased cardiac output, and narrowing of the arteries. And those are things you don't want to happen. So when you do meditate, you are actually reducing those harmful hormones, like the cortisol and the adrenaline, right? So after your stress is gone, those hormone levels tend to return to normal. Like if you are suddenly, you're walking somewhere and all of a sudden the snake crosses your path. Of course, unless you absolutely are not afraid of snakes. When the snake crosses your path, then of course you're going to get afraid. Your heart rate's going to go up a little bit, and that adrenaline starts to rise, right? Well, once that danger is no longer there, then your adrenaline levels go back to they get lowered, right? And then your stability is restored and your stress level goes down, right? So I don't know if any of you have ever had a near-death experience, and I've spoken about mine a few times in other live streams. So I'm going to talk about two cases that I am certain of. One case, I came very close to having a heart attack, but I think I got to the hospital just in time that it didn't happen. But there were two occasions in which I'm certain that my heart stopped. One of them was almost 25 years ago now, when I was having an ovarian surgery. And I had the whole experience of, the light in the tunnel and going up to the gate. And in that particular one, I actually saw my grandmother. And this is the actual surgery was recorded. And when I spoke to my doctor, this was days after the actual surgery and I was recovering. I spoke to my doctor and he was relaying the details of the surgery and what occurred. And then I was telling him what happened with me, as having this light, seeing the light and going up to this gate, seeing my grandmother, and then my grandmother telling me that God wasn't ready for me yet, so I needed to go back. So my doctor is relaying this story, and he's telling me how, as they cut, I started to just spew blood everywhere, and they were pumping blood in, and I was pumping it out, and he had to call for backup. And there's lots of other details to the story, but in a nutshell, other surgeons were called in, and one by one, each of these surgeons were calling time of death. And it came down to this one last doctor. This is the one that's my main surgeon. It came down to him, and as he was about to call time of death, all of a sudden my heart started to beat again. So he's telling me this, and then after he was finished, I told him my story. And he said to me that these were his words, someone up there must love me because I really am not supposed to be here. Right? Those were his words. So at the time when I'm telling him this, he said, the moment that you were told that God wasn't ready for you yet, I am pretty certain that that's when your heart started to beat again. Because he said to me quite clearly, he said, I have nothing to do with your heart starting to beat again, because I was actually in the process of calling time of death when all of a sudden your heart started to beat again. So that was my very first one. The second one, I was having my hysterectomy. This was about, I think this was 5 years now. Don't even remember when my hysterectomy was, but I think it was about five years ago. And I remember looking down and seeing my body lying there. And at the foot of my bed, there was Jesus sitting. And we were talking. His mouth never moved. Mine never moved. But somehow we were talking back and forth. And I remember him quite clearly saying to me, everything is going to be okay. Everything is going to be okay. It was just a very comforting conversation. But I remember just being above my body and looking down and just seeing my body there as the doctors are working on me. And Jesus is just quite calmly just sitting at the edge of the bed, just talking to me. But there was no mouth moving or anything, but we were talking, back and forth. Because I'm taking out all of the female organs. Okay, so as a woman, you can imagine just how stressful that is when they're taking out the uterus, the cervix, all of those things, right? So part of the thing going into the surgery is, as a woman, we associate those parts with being a woman. So coming out of the surgery, does that make me less of a woman? Do you understand what I mean? If you're a woman and you've had a hysterectomy, I'm sure you've probably gone through that thought process. Now, it took me about a year to kind of process all of that, and I did go through a healing process where I even painted about it. I wrote about the hysterectomy. But for tonight, we're going to talk about that near death, or having the heart stop beating, because I do believe my heart had stopped in order for me to have vacated my body. So the third one, like I said, I ended up collapsing, and by the time I got to the emergency room, the ER doctor basically said, whatever medications you took And I told him, he said, those two should never have even been prescribed together. And that was actually the day where I made up my mind that I was going to do everything completely natural. That was the day that that particular episode occurred. So my heart rate was just so high. The ER said he was a cardiac arrest. So that was very, very lucky. I was blessed on that particular day. So to have, but if you've ever had your heart stop beating and then start again and come come back to talk about it, that's a blessing. That is a true blessing. And I've spoken to other people, and I've actually been interviewed about this, and because I was the type. Growing up, I was a huge skeptic. You'd hear all of the stories. People, they die and they go through the tunnel and they see the light at the end of the tunnel, and the whole thing, right? And I was a huge skeptic until it happened to me. So I have a huge awareness about that sort of thing, and just just compassion for people who've actually gone there. And recently, I heard someone saying, I don't really believe that happens to people. I mean, I've heard about people say that they go through this thing, but I don't believe that happens at all. And I sat there and I really had to, because I really wanted to get on the defensive side because I've been there, but I couldn't do that, right? But anyway, so we're going to talk about it. Was, having gone through, we had a little bit of a glitch. Having gone through those experiences, it really makes you appreciate your heartbeat a little bit more, right? It's you cannot have your heart stop beating, come back from that, and then just go on like life as usual. You just can't, right? It changes your life. It really does change your life. And it's a much longer story, but you just can't go through an experience like that and not have it have an impact on you and become more aware of your heartbeats and become more aware of taking care of your heart, taking care of your body in general. Because when you take care of your body in general, you do take care of your heart, right? And we're going to talk a little bit later on about how to take care of the heart energy center. So what exactly does the heart do? Well, it pumps blood around your entire body. When your heart stops, the blood stops pumping, and the body just seizes, right? So the blood carries oxygen and it carries nutrients to all parts of your body because a lot of the nutrients get pumped through with the blood, right? I'm not going to go into any whole biological explanation and a lot of this stuff. You can look, you can look that up, right? But in a nutshell, the heart pumps blood throughout your body. The blood carries the oxygen and other nutrients throughout your body. And it also removes the unwanted carbon dioxide from your body as well. There are just a few details. There are 3 layers of heart tissue. There's your epicardium, there's a myocardium, then there's an endocardium. So your heart is just not one giant thing that just pumps. There's a lot of structure to your heart. And all 3 of these are surrounded by what's called a pericardium, which is a thin layer around the heart that tends to protect the heart. So a lot of people who've been diagnosed with lupus, they tend to have issues with that layer around the heart. I think it's referred to as pericarditis. So a lot of people who've been diagnosed with lupus, when they have heart issues, it tends to be around that thin layer that surrounds the heart called the pericardium. So there are 4 chambers, there are 4 valves, and that blood is pumped through a network of arteries, there's capillaries, there's veins, right? The heart is also an electrical system, which is why whenever the heart stops, they tend to use those paddles, electricity, and they do their thing and it gets started. Now, that's another thing that I didn't mention. When I actually woke up from that very first one, for days and days and days afterwards, um, my chest hurt really badly. So when my doctor called to check up on me and to tell me the details of the surgery, which he said, like I said, it was actually recorded, and he asked if I wanted to watch it, and I thought to myself, no. I said no. I don't really want to see myself in that state. I love the fact that I came back from such an experience, but I did not want to see myself actually go through it. But it is recorded. But one of the things I did ask was, my chest hurts really badly, and my throat itches something awful. So he explained to me that when my heart stopped, they had to use the paddles. And I'm sure that if you've ever watched a movie, they have the two electrical paddles. They put it on, they press, and they say clear, and then they press, and the body jerks, and you know the drill. So he explained to me that that had to be done a few times, and that I would. So that's what I was feeling in the pain in my chest. It is not something that just they do it and then it's over and you don't feel any pain. It is painful for days after. If they do manage to bring the person back, which they did with me, you do feel it. The pain, it does go on for several days afterwards. And he explained to me that the throat itching part was as a result of being on the ventilator. So the thing that goes down, yes, that did, and my throat itched for days. So it is an electrical system, which is why they use electricity to restart the heart when it does stop. So obviously there are things that can go wrong with your heart. There can be things that go structurally wrong, like congenital heart disease. There can be things that are with the cardiovascular system. You could end up with a heart attack, angina, a stroke. It could be electrical, so you end up with things like tachycardia or bradycardia, which tachycardia is beating too fast, bradycardia beating too slow, and those are called arrhythmias. You could have issues relating to the way that the blood is being pumped. So you end up with high blood pressure, heart valve problems like leaking, or where you have or issues where you have the disease of the heart muscle. Now, one of the things I want to mention is that I do have an implant, and it's almost like a USB, a little USB, the little things you save information on. What are those things called? Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. It's very, very small, and it's placed right over the heart. So they make a tiny cut. They open it up, they shove that in, and I'm connected to a device here, which is connected to my cardiologist at his office, right? So that is because my heart tends to beat a lot faster than most people. So it's regulated by in the past was medication, and now I do a lot of meditation, not medication, to help to regulate the heartbeat, but I'm monitored on a regular basis. And I know several people who have this particular device. So you can't go through your the machines at the airport or wherever. And there's a card that I have to carry. So, this particular thing is really, really close to my heart. No pun intended there. So the electrical part, I'm very, very aware of. There's nothing structurally wrong with my heart. I've been able to actually see it. I've gone in and had scans done, and they're doing the thing, and I can see my heart beating on a screen, and it's the most beautiful thing. If you've never had it done, I hope you never have to have it done. And I'm watching it, and I'm being able to see all the valves opening and closing, and the blood gushing through. It's a beautiful thing. So I understand that part completely. So what I want to do now is to talk a little bit about how to take care of the heart. And then we're going to go into the meditation. And I know you're probably thinking, this could be a meditation. Yes, but I like to talk a little bit about the area that we're going to be meditating on, so that, let me just get something off screen here real quick. so that you understand a little bit more about that particular area that we're doing the meditation on. Okay, so a few weeks ago we talked about, actually a couple weeks ago, the last meditation we did was all about the solar plexus, which was the immune system. That's where they say 75 to 80% of the immune system resides in your gut area, right? And that is also called the solar plexus. So if you go back and watch the solar plexus meditation, um, that is also connected to the heart, because your immune system, I mean, your immune system takes care of your whole body, not just your gut area. So by focusing on taking care of your gut, you're also taking care of the heart area. Because remember, whatever it is that you eat also affects the heart. So if you eat a heart healthy diet, you're taking care of your heart. But if you're eating stuff that you're not supposed to be eating, and things that are going to clog your arteries and do all kinds of funky things to your blood, then of course you're not taking care of the heart itself. So the gut area and the heart area are very, very connected. Right. So I'd love for you to go back and look at the solar plexus meditation, and you can do that one before you do this, or let's just do this one right now, or after you're finished with this one, go back and do that. But technically, all of these meditations are connected, because your body is not disjointed. Your head is not disconnected from the rest of your body, right? All of the parts are in one body, but each week or every few days we focus on one particular energy center. Okay, so different ways of taking care of your heart is exercising more. By moving, we are also taking care of the heart. Now, I'm not saying you go out and you do a marathon. You can simply start by moving, by getting a little rebounder, a little trampoline, and you start by doing that. Start by walking. If you're a little bit overweight, you can consider doing, maybe decreasing your caloric intake, or whatever it takes for you to lose a few pounds. Losing weight can also help with your heart, as well as your immune system. Nutrition, we talked a little bit about that, but nutrition is huge in every part, every energy center. The nutrition is a big, 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 big part of taking care of the overall body. All right. Reduce inflammation. By doing this, we exercise. That also helps to reduce inflammation. Eating an anti-inflammatory diet will help to reduce the inflammation. And that is really, really essential in preventing heart disease, right? If you're a smoker, if you drink a lot of alcohol, you might want to consider reducing or just quitting smoking altogether, and reducing your alcohol intake, or just cutting that out altogether. Also, one of the things you'd want to consider is checking your blood pressure on a regular basis. So a blood pressure machine does not cost that much. Every household should have one. You might also want to get what's called an oximeter. That's one of the things I invested in. An oximeter is actually, I think, a little bit more expensive than your cheapest blood pressure machine. But an oximeter, as well as a blood pressure machine. So invest in those and check your blood pressure on a regular basis. You can even go to CVS pharmacy or any pharmacy that has those blood pressure machines there and get your blood pressure checked regularly. So those are just simple things for you to help to take care of the heart. All right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go into the meditation. Now that we've gone through all of these little bit of detail about the heart and what it does for you and how important it is for you to take care of it, right? So let me put this notebook aside. And we're going to go into the meditation. Before we do that, I wanted to let's talk a little bit, because I did mention I do have a green juice here that I'm drinking, and I'm actually drinking it in a green glass. And I talked a little bit about the color of at least in Ayurveda, the color of the heart center is considered to be green. I know for Valentine's Day, it's like red flowers, red hearts and pink hearts. But the color in Ayurveda, color of the heart center, is green. So that's why I'm wearing green, lots of green, drinking from the green glass. Then, and ironically enough, the juice that I'm drinking, if you can go on Instagram, on my Instagram account, and I posted the blend there, and the name of it is called Green Glow. My niece actually helped me to name it. And the ingredients are cucumbers, green grapes, green apples or Granny Smith apples, celery, and these other ingredients aren't green, but they're ingredients. At least two of them I use in every blend. So lemon is in here because it's a good detox agent, and ginger is in here because it's a very powerful anti-inflammatory agent, or herb or spice, or whatever, however you want to call it. And then I also add in blood orange, just for the fun of it. All right, so there's cucumbers, green grapes, green apples, celery, lemon, ginger, and blood orange. And this is just very hydrating. It's anti-inflammatory. It's a good detox as well. It's very alkalizing. So that's the drink that I have. I'm going to go ahead and take a sip. It is so good. It's so good. So those are the ingredients in that Green Glow juice that I'm drinking. Whew. So let's go into the meditation. So for this meditation, hoping you had a little bit of time to go and grab a green t-shirt or something green that you might have wanted to put on. I'm going to reach over and grab my drum real quick. I set it over a little bit too far. So for this one, I'm going to be beating the drum. I thought this would be best because, you know, when you think of the heartbeat, you think of the almost like a drum beat. It's the first. It's the first sound that, you know, when a woman is pregnant, that's actually the first sound that the baby hears, is the mother's heartbeat, right? And it's it's sound that we don't really even really pay attention to, like I said, unless we put our fingers here or unless we get scared or something, right? So what I want you to do is go ahead and get into a nice comfortable position, either sitting on a chair, or you could be lying on your bed or lying on the floor, but just get in a comfortable position. You feel free to close your eyes. That way you can just focus on my voice and just kind of block everything out, turn off your phone, turn off the TV, and just really get into a nice, comfortable position. And like I said, I'm going to be drumming. So get to a nice, comfortable position, lying down, and just really settle in. You know, like if you're sitting down, just really settle into the chair, whatever chair you're sitting on, or if you're sitting on the floor, just really imagine yourself just kind of sinking into the chair or into the floor. If you're lying on the bed, just imagine your body just really sinking into that mattress, just really sinking into your bed and just into the stillness around you. Okay. Go ahead and take a deep breath. Feel free to close your eyes. You can just focus on my voice. You don't have to see me in order to do this meditation. This meditation is going to help you to connect with your heart energy center. Just take a nice deep breath in, out through your mouth. In through your nose, out through your mouth. Your heart energy center is a center of love, It's the center of empathy. It's a center of compassion. Music is always playing in your heart energy center, but we really only hear it if we pay attention to it, and a lot of the times we're not, right? So right now, if you want to, if you feel called, just take 2 of your fingers in either hand and just place on a pulse center. Just place on one of your pulses, either up by your neck, on your wrist, and just start to listen to your heartbeat. Take a nice deep breath. Your heart energy center helps to connect you to all of the other energy centers. Helps to connect you to your solar plexus, to your sacral chakra. It connects you to your feet. It connects to your legs because you have veins, capillaries running all throughout, and your heart pumps all of the blood throughout your entire body. And it connects you to your brain. When our hearts are fully opened, we become a channel for universal compassion. When your hearts are fully opened, you become a channel for universal compassion. And that is so needed in the world today. That's one of the things that I know I had to work on. I don't think I mentioned this, but the perfume that I'm actually wearing right now is a perfume that I made. And the name of it is Compassion. I'm going to stop drumming for a minute so I can show that to you. So you know that. Let me see if you can actually see the words on there. See the C. But this one is actually called Compassion. And what I'll do is I will look up in the ingredients. I've got it written down, and I can share that with you. But I was going through a rough time, just dealing with some things, and that's one of the things I felt called to make was a perfume called Compassion. So every time I wear that, it reminds me that other people out there that I'm dealing with, they have their own things that they're dealing with. So I need to always remember to have compassion. Infinite love flows through, and we begin to heal ourselves and to heal others as well whenever we open up our hearts. So when our hearts are open, not only are we healing ourselves, but we also heal others in the process. Because the lesson of the heart is that we must fully love and accept ourselves, because before we can truly love and accept others. If we can't love and accept ourselves, it's really hard to love and accept others. Because one of the toughest lessons that I had to learn was that whatever I tended to see in others as an issue that I didn't like, it was basically kind of a reflection of me. It's kind of our shadow self. When we see something in other people that we don't like, it's basically pointing something out in ourselves that we may not necessarily like, right? And that's part of the shadow work that we all have to do. And as I was doing this, some research on the heart, one of the things that came to me was, you know, the second biblical commandment is that we must love our neighbor as ourselves. But sometimes loving ourselves can be the hardest thing to do. But how are we to love others if we really don't love ourselves? But the irony is, I actually know people who would give you the shirt off their back. They would do absolutely anything for you. They love people they just do. They love people. But at the same time, they'll tell you that they just don't love themselves. They will do anything for anyone else, but find it so hard to love themselves. But second commandment, love your neighbor as you love yourself. You have to love yourself first in order to really show love to another person. This feels like a good place to just take a deep breath in through your nose, out through your mouth. Just imagine when you truly start to heal your heart. If you've gone through any kind of challenges, maybe it's a broken heart, maybe you've lost someone that you really, really cared about, maybe you've lost someone through death, so your heart is breaking, you're grieving. Maybe tonight can be the start of the healing process for you. Now, one of the things that I'm actually working on right now is a dear soul that I've been for the last 4 or 5 months. She's family by marriage. It's two of my nieces' great-grandmother. And I was with her the moment she passed. I was also with her sons, her daughter, and other family members. And you know, I've known her for a long time. But the last few months, I've really gotten a chance to just get really close to her. And the day after her passing was the hardest, because, you know, I literally, it was like, okay, so what do I do with myself now? Right? That was hard. And I'm still, you know, it's still fresh. But so when you're grieving, when you've lost someone that you love, that's like a broken heart. It's a broken heart when you've lost someone that you love, either through a divorce or some other way. Maybe you had a boyfriend or a girlfriend, and you end up breaking up. So you've suffered a broken heart. So maybe tonight is the night that you just start to heal. Another deep breath in through your nose, out through your mouth. Really let yourself begin to settle once again into the bed you're lying on or on the floor. If you're sitting on a chair, just really settle in. Take a deep breath once again, out through your mouth. What I want you to do at this point, if you're lying down or if you're sitting, really spread your collarbones open. So just imagine this is your heart center, heart's right here, right? Just really spread your collarbones as far as you can. Just open up that area. Open up that heart center area. And if it's comfortable for you to do, put one hand over your heart and put the other hand over your belly area. Okay. Remember I said your gut and your heart's connected to everything, but I want you to put your, I'm going to put the drum down for right now. So put one hand over your heart area, and I want you to take your other hand and put over your gut area. Really just spread that heart center open. Just spread your collarbones open. I want you to bring awareness to that heart space. Take a deep breath in and out through your mouth. One more. When you take your next breath, really feel your gut fill up. Okay, so inhale, and then as you exhale, feel all of that air just releasing, emptying it out, creating space for more awareness and for new air. So one more time, just breathe in through your nose and just feel that area just fill with air. Just breathe out through your mouth. One more time. Really spread your collarbones, open up that heart area. And out through your mouth. And take a sip real quick. If you have a drink, just go ahead and take a sip as we go into the next section. What I want you to do is I want you to imagine that in your heart energy center area, that there's an emerald green orb of light just spinning. Remember I said that green is the color in Ayurveda that's associated with your heart energy center. So just imagine that there is an emerald green light. Just imagine that you're breathing it in, and it's just landing right there in your heart energy center, and it's just spinning. Just imagine a ball of emerald green light just spinning in your heart energy center, just filling up that space. It's bringing with it warmth and just making that entire upper body just feel nice and toasty, just toasty warmth. Again, green is the color associated with the heart energy center. So just imagine that emerald green orb that's just spinning, spinning, spinning in that heart energy center area. Ironically enough, green is my favorite color, has always been. Green is, for me, associated with life. When you look outside, the green, the trees and the grass. And as an artist, for me, it's not just green, right? My favorite color is actually hunter green. I always tell my kids it's hunter green. Green, we're talking about, as an artist, there's Kelly green and there's bluegrass green, there's light green, there's hunter green, there's neon green. There's all these different shades of green, right? All of these different shades of green. And funny enough, my birthstone happens to be an emerald because I was born in the month of May. So all of this, I just love the color green. It doesn't matter what shade of green. I just love green. So when I look outside, I see all of the different shades of green. When I look at the leaves on the tree, I see a certain shade of green. When I look at the grass, I see a different shades of green, right? But I digress. So as you breathe, allow this emerald light, this orb of emerald green that is just spinning in your heart area. Just allow that to just fill you up. Just imagine that it's just spilling over and it's just flooding the rest of your body with just this green energy. Because remember, I said that heart, it pumps the blood to all of the rest of your body, right? So just imagine that all of that green energy is just spilling over and it's just being pumped out to the rest of your body. What we're going to do now is we're going to really focus on opening our heart, and we're going to be emanating, just radiating that green energy from you outwards. Okay, and I'm going to this is probably going to be one of the toughest parts of this meditation, but just open yourself up to it. Just open yourself to the possibility. Okay, don't hard for me to do. If you've ever felt the pain of a broken heart, you've opened yourself up enough to expose yourself to vulnerability, and that took courage, right? So what I'm going to ask you to do again is to be courageous once again, because we're going to radiate light. We're going to radiate that emerald green energy out to other people. So what I want you to do here is I want you to call to mind someone or multiple people that you love and you care about. I'll give you a moment to think about either that one person or a few people that you love and truly care about. And I want you to really be able to see them in your mind's eye. If your eyes are closed, just really trying to just bring their face really close to you, or their faces close to you, so you can see them in your mind's eye. Got them? Okay, so now what I want you to do is to just allow that spinning ball of energy, that spinning ball of green energy. Imagine opening up your heart and you're just going to radiate that green energy out to those faces that you're seeing in your mind's eye. Either that one face or those faces that you're seeing. Just imagine your heart opening up and that green spinning ball of energy is just radiating out to those faces or that one face that you've called and you're now able to see in your mind's eye. Go ahead and take a deep breath. Out through your mouth. And just sit with that for a moment. And just allow that energy to reach that one person or those persons that you're sending that energy to. Now, I want you to call to mind someone or multiple people who you may have slightly tough relationship with. This, like I said, is probably going to be a really hard part, but just think of either one person or a few people who you might have a tough relationship with right now, that you might find it hard to really love that person or those persons right now. I want you to call them in, be able to see their face in your mind's eye, really bring them close to you right now. And again, picture that spinning green ball of energy. Bring those faces close, really be able to see them in your mind's eye. And what I want you to do is to open up your heart, and I want you to just radiate that green energy from your heart center out to those faces or that face that you're having a hard time loving right now. Take a deep breath in. Breathe out through your mouth. And just sit with that energy for a moment. Just keep radiating that green energy out to that person or persons who you're having a tough relationship with right now. And I'm doing this right alongside you. I'm not perfect. I'm doing this meditation right alongside you. And just sit with that for a moment. And don't be surprised if after you've done this meditation that the people or person who you brought to mind, don't be surprised if they call you or if they text you, and reach out to you in some form. Because energy is real. When you're sending out this energy, sending out this love energy, they're going to feel it. So don't be surprised if they reach out to you after this meditation is over. It might be today, it might be tomorrow, might be a few days from now. But this kind of energy, this really does work. Okay, so the next part, what I want you to do is, I want you to call to mind yourself. And I want you to picture, and this might be a little bit more difficult, and I'm going to show you a trick. I'm going to tell you a trick that I started to work on a few years back. To call yourself to mind. Because now you're going to show love to yourself. So what I want you to do is, I want you to imagine yourself standing directly in front of you. Just picture, imagine that you can create a hologram of yourself and just push that hologram out of you in front of you. And that hologram is standing. It's a perfect image of you standing in front of you. Okay. I know this might be hard for some of you to do, but with a little bit of practice, you'll be able to do this. Just imagine. I mean, I'm sure you've seen holograms. You've seen movies where they kind of pull up these holograms. Just imagine a hologram of you, just pull out that hologram of you and have that hologram stand in front of you. Because now what you're going to do is you're going to show love to yourself. You're going to radiate that love from your heart into the hologram of yourself that is standing in front of you. And I know this is hard for a lot of people, because the hardest thing, we can love other people, but we find it so hard to love ourselves. So now we're going to radiate that love energy from your heart into the hologram of you that is standing in front of you. Okay, so what I want you to do is to just bring that hologram forward. Have that hologram of yourself facing you. Or if you're lying down, just imagine, just push that hologram up above you, and just imagine that hologram is just floating right above you. And you are able to see in your mind's eye that hologram of yourself just kind of floating above you. If you're sitting, just push that hologram out in front of you and just imagine that that hologram is sitting directly in front of you. And what I want you to do is just imagine that green spinning energy, and I want you to radiate that out towards the hologram of yourself, and just sit with that. Sit with that for a moment. Just imagine that connection, that green energy is just going from your heart and it's going into the heart center of the hologram of yourself sitting in front of you, and it's going back and forth. And you're just kind of feeding it, right? Because like I said, it's so hard for us to truly love ourselves, which is why I wanted this to be a part of it. You can radiate love to other people, even the people that you find it so hard to love. You can radiate that energy out to them. But now I want you to radiate it to yourself, and really just sit with that for a moment. Spend some time just loving on yourself. Just spread your collarbone just really wide and just allow that ball of green energy to just grow and grow, and you can just feel it just spinning in your heart energy center, and just imagine it just radiating out to the hologram of yourself that's either sitting in front of you, standing in front of you, maybe it's just floating above you as you're laying down on your bed. And just really love on yourself right now. If you feel tears coming, let them come. This part is where a lot of people tend to cry, because they tend to find this to be really hard to do. Like I said, we can show love to other people, but when we truly start to love ourselves, just imagine the kind of love we can really show to others. But loving ourselves is one of the hardest things to do. So really just sit with that. It's not a rush. If you feel like hugging yourself, just go ahead and just give yourself a giant hug. If you feel like crying, just let the tears come. Tears can be very cleansing. But just really look at yourself, or that hologram of yourself sitting in front of you, and you can embrace the hologram, embrace yourself, but just really show love to yourself right now. Just imagine that green energy just wrapping itself around you, right? Just imagine that ball is just like sending out all of these tendrils, and it's just engulfing you in that energy, and just really feel the warmth, really feel the hug from this energy. And just sit with that for a moment. Whenever you're ready, just call your energy back in. That hologram that you sent out in front of you, that you sent such loving energy to, just call your energy back in and just feel the warmth and just feel the love as it re-enters you. Just feel the love that you're engulfed in. That same love that you sent to other people, that same love that you sent to the people that you find it hard to love, the same love that you're now being wrapped in. So just sit with that for a moment. So whenever you're ready, you can go ahead and you can open your eyes and just start to become aware again of your surroundings. Whenever this meditation is over, just go ahead and you can just have yourself something to drink. You can have yourself just a nice light meal. And like I said, just don't be surprised if you get any calls or text messages or emails or however they're going to reach out to you. Don't be surprised if you get any connections from the people that you reached out to energetically. Because energy, like I said, is very real. My daughter and I have this kind of a connection. This morning, I think it was around, might have been around 3:30 or so. I was laying in bed. I was wide awake. And I was just thinking about things. And this morning, I try not to look at my phone during the night. I tend to look at it usually around 7:30, 8 o'clock. And I always tell people if they want to reach me in the night and it's very important, to always call me. I will hear it, but I will not, and I will answer the phone then, but I will not, check for text messages or anything. So people who know me very well, they will call me if it's really important, if they need to get in touch with me during the night. And so this morning I checked my phone and there was a message from my daughter and it was around 3:30 or so. And it was so ironic because at that same time I was thinking about her and how I hadn't talked to her in a little while. And the message from her said, hi mommy. She called me mommy. And it's like I haven't talked to you in a while. I was thinking about you. So I know this kind of energy is real. And this is not the first time this happened. And the same thing I mentioned I think I mentioned earlier in this meditation that the lady that I take care of, and she said this to me several times. She said, Gina, and she spoke in Spanish, of course, so she would say this in Spanish. I'd walk out of the room, and she'd look at me. She said, Gina, I just thought about you, and you walk out of your room. And this happened several times. So she said, we have this connection. So I always thought that was really special that she mentioned something like that. So this kind of energy, and I'm sure that I'm not the only person it happens to. It probably happened to you, happened to other people, but this kind of energy is real. So when you reach out to people on an energetic level, don't be surprised if they, reach out to you by phone or by text or some other way in the next few days. Take another deep breath in, out through your mouth. So by now, you should be completely aware of your surroundings. I'm going to go ahead and end the meditation here. And that concludes our heart meditation, heart energetic center meditation. Whew. So the next one is going to be all about the throat energy center. And a lot of you are probably thinking the throat energy center. Well, this area is all about communication, right? So we're going to be focusing on the throat energy center in our next meditation. But if you've missed any of the previous ones, what I've done is on YouTube, I've posted all of the previous meditations for the Love Your Body meditation series. I've posted all of them in one playlist. So you're able to go back, and I think what I'll do is I'll just take that particular playlist and I will post it under this the one on Facebook. So everybody there, you can just go in and you can watch all the previous ones if you want to do those. But they're always there available for you. And if you're on YouTube, if you're watching from YouTube, you can also go there and you can find my my playlist called the Love Your Body meditation playlist, and you'll be able to see all of the previous Love Your Body meditation. We started at the feet and we're working our way up. Right now we're at the heart, and the next one we're going to be doing is going to be focused on the throat, our communication center. So I'm really hoping that you're enjoying these meditations. I'd love to hear from you if you've done them. I've taken, some of them are a little bit longer than others, and I really take my time to go through and kind of give you some I guess, biological information on that particular energy center, in addition to some ways to heal, using food, nutrition, that sort of thing. And then we go into the meditation afterwards. So it's not just the meditation. I also try to at least give you a little bit of information relating to it as well. If you have any kind of questions or comments relating to any of these, you can reach out to me on YouTube. If you're watching from YouTube, you can reach out to me on Facebook if you're watching from Facebook, or wherever you happen to see these meditations, shared out to, because I know a lot of people share them out on different platforms as well. So, but I really have enjoyed sharing these with you. This was something totally new to me, actually sharing meditations with my viewers. But someone reached out to me and said, I would love for you to do some meditation. So I'm here, and it's been a pleasure doing these meditations. I've really actually enjoyed them, and I think they've kind of brought me out of my comfort zone a little bit. And this, they said that if you're not being challenged, you're really not growing. So these meditations have really, they've kind of challenged me a little bit, and in the sense that I'm sharing them with you because these are meditations that I've done in the past. These are all part of a meditation that I did over the years as part of my healing process from healing from autoimmunity. These meditations were all part of a meditation that I was doing, but I'd never really shared them with the public. So one of my a friend and a viewer reached out to me and said, we'd love for you to do some meditations with us. So one of the things I'm also going to be thinking about and working on doing is some sound therapy as well, utilizing quite a few of the my sound tools. You periodically hear me with the this is the Tibetan sound bowl, And I also have my drum, which I worked with tonight. I have a rain stick, and I also have a clear quartz triangle. Not a triangle, a pyramid, but I also have a lot. And these are all tools, because you have to remember that we are vibrational beings, so we respond to sound. When a baby is growing in a woman's belly, that baby can hear the heartbeat. That baby can also hear, the swishing of the. And if you listen closely, you can probably hear it yourself, because one of the things I kind of trained myself over the years is to be able to go internally and listen to my heartbeat and listen to that blood swishing through your veins, and you listen to your stomach digesting. You can almost picture when food gets down there. You can picture breaking things down, and then it gets passed, and you can visualize your intestines um, kind of sucking out the nutrients from the food that's passing through, and then sending it out into your bloodstream, which it starts to feed the rest of your body. So this is something that I kind of trained myself over the years to be able to do. And as a result of this, I am so careful, because I know how the body works now, and I'm so careful now of what goes into my body, right? That includes the stuff that goes on my skin, whether it be makeup, lotion, or whatever the case is. Because when you really grasp the fact that what goes in or on your body becomes you, then you really start to take care of your body. When you're able to visualize everything that goes into your mouth, going down, breaking up, and literally becoming a part of you, you really start to pay attention to what you put into your body. Right? And I'm not sitting here saying I'm perfect by a long shot. I'm not perfect. I do have my certain foods that I guess people would consider to be junk food. Most people would probably consider them to be healthy food. For me, it would be considered junk food. So I do have those things that I do like to eat. So I am not perfect by a long shot, but I am very careful. I'm very aware of what goes in, because I'm aware that what goes in or on the body becomes you. It makes you. It makes your cells, and your cells become part of your body. So in that sense, I'm very careful. And when you really start to grasp that understanding, and you think, oh my gosh, then you start to say, okay, time to clean up the diet, time to start looking for more natural products to put on my skin, time to make some changes, right? So this meditation actually helped with that kind of a process. So now I'm able to like go internally and be able to visualize a lot of stuff. A lot of the times when I was first learning this, I would go to the doctor and I say, I think there's an issue with a certain part of my body. And for example, I went to my doctor and I said, I think there's a problem with my liver. This was I want to say maybe 4 years ago. I said, I think there's a problem with my liver. And my doctor looked at me and said, well, how would you, number one, how would you know that? And I said, I wasn't having any kind of discomfort, but by being able to do that internal investigation, so to speak, I could sense that there was something wrong. And then when they did the actual, forgot what it was, CT scan, I think it was a CT scan that was done. It came back showing a certain part of my liver that had some questionable things happening. And they were kind of surprised. And I said, it's part of it is this meditation that I was, learning how to do. So when you really start to pay attention to your body speaks to you. It really does. and whether it's by pain, and your pain is a messenger. So if you ever ignore pain, chances are, if you ignore it long enough, chances are you're going to pay the price later on, because pain is there as a messenger. But if you're not feeling pain and you become so aware of your body, and you're so in tune with your body, you begin to know when things are kind of out of whack. So that's what this meditation has, learning how to do this many years ago, has really taught me how to go internally and really begin to see what's happening. And I'm hoping that that might be, if you practice these long enough, often enough, you'll be able to do the same. All right. So that is tonight's meditation, the love your heart, or the I heart. We always see that stuff. How do they do the heart thing? Is that good? Right. So come back. Today's Tuesday. I don't have the date set for the throat one. I am going to say today's Tuesday. I'm going to say Thursday. But don't hold me to that just yet. You will definitely get the notification. The reason is this is going to be a busy week, because I know that there are going to be family members coming in, and Sunday is the actual going home service for Abuelita. So it's going to be kind of a busy week. So if I'm not able to do the meditation for the throat center this week, it'll certainly be next week. But I have thoroughly enjoyed tonight, and I'm hoping you did as well. I know that there were quite a few people who were on watching at one point. So go ahead and just spend a few moments decompressing from this meditation, and just get yourself a nice drink, get yourself a nice light meal, and just spend some time. Okay, just kind of decompressing. If anything came up for you tonight, and this is one of the things I didn't mention, always journal. Get yourself a journal. You can use the same journal for all of the meditations. That way you keep it all in one place. So if anything came up for you tonight, go ahead and journal about it. If you have any questions and you want to reach out to me, you can certainly do so. You can, a lot of you are friends with me on Facebook, so you can send me a message on Messenger, or you can send me an email. If you're watching from YouTube, you can certainly send me an email. Either way, you'll be able to find me at some point. Some of you may even have my phone number, so you can also call me. But if anything comes up for you, make sure that you journal or just write down anything that is coming up. If you're watching this on the replay, make sure you get a journal, and you can also certainly go back and you can watch previous meditations as well. In that, I believe it is called the Love Your Body playlist. So you can find that on YouTube, and I will also share it at the bottom of this particular live stream after I sign off. So thank you again for being here with me. I have absolutely enjoyed this, and I will see you all again real soon.